Well, it's Friday, so you know this is Carolina working with host Pete Rose. I'm sitting in for him tonight. It's the OG Loyalty. Wally Sharif, what's happening? We back at it like South Crack, you know what I'm saying? So, man, today we got somebody that we've been trying to talk to for a minute. We're going to let her introduce herself. To my left is...
We got LEX DABENEFIT. Y'all stop playing for real.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Lex the benefit.
Yeah.
See you at a lot of different places. Like, where you from?
I'm from here. I'm from South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. Straight from the mid. I'm so Riverside.
Riverside. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. So how long you been doing, like, I know you do a lot of different things, but how long you been doing the music?
I got serious about music in 2019.
Right before COVID?
Yeah, I was actually I was in Charlotte when I decided to get serious about the music. Just a lot of YNs out there. They just was like, hey, you got something on you.
Yeah.
God dang, what you gonna do with it? And I took off from there. I've been doing music for a minute, but not seriously. Just playing around. I grew up around it. Shit. Shout out to Big Hurt. That's one of the main people who started it up for me. And rest in peace to my brother Super Deuce. You know, he was definitely a major part of me wanting to pursue it at some point. I just didn't know when. Yeah.
So, like I see you do hosted and everything like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what does that take? You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Like, you cracking the jokes too? You comedian too?
Man, I ain't no damn comedian. People think I should be a comedian, but I be for real though. Like they be laughing, but I be serious for real.
Yeah.
I be serious. But hosting, it don't really take much. I mean, I feel like if you be yourself unapologetically, you know, people they vibrate a little bit higher to that.
Right.
So I just stay true to myself. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and I stay where I'm at.
I think I was at my house and you did it. Was it a cancer benefit or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Did you just host that night, or was that like special to you or something like that? Is somebody you know?
I did.
fallen
You know,
soldiers
I
and
mean,
everything?
I've had family, you know, that have passed from cancer. I mean,
Right.
my motto is the same as everybody else's. We don't care about no cancer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It take them away too soon, you know.
Right.
But I'm real big on community events in general.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like anything giving back to the people. I honestly I can say with a straight face, I feel like I'm one of the most supportive artists in the city because
Right.
I come to a place and I don't want to perform. I just want to support.
Yeah,
just be in the building, be a part of the movement, help in the way that I can. Yeah.
Staying unified and whatever.
Yeah.
How hard is that, man, in this city? Like being unified and everything like that, and trying to keep everybody together and not apart.
I mean, it's tough, but it's a mindset.
Right.
I don't feel like it's an incapability. I just feel like it's more so of a mindset. Once everybody get that Hollywood mindset out their heads, or everybody get that crab in the bucket mindset, you get rid of that. We actually got a lot of heat here. Real spill. Yeah. We got a lot of heat here, but people sleep on it because people just be in their thoughts, man. Sometimes you just gotta do it.
Right. You think the business, like 1 to 10, how you think the business side of everything is in not just Columbia, but South Carolina. Period. We the capital, so you know.
Right.
I would say Columbia, but I mean South Carolina. Period. Like, what do you think 1 to 10? Like, how niggas handle business around here with like 1 being the worst?
I'm gonna be honest, that's a hard thing for me to rate. And the reason being is because I'm not fully abreast on how the business aspect works all the way around. But from some of the people that I've encountered, I think there's definitely more to be desired.
Right. Gotcha.
I feel like people don't realize that there's still more growth. Like nobody really has. There's really no cheat code for real.
Right.
Cause it ain't no cheat code without a team.
Right.
But if you closed off and you ain't really, no new people here, no new people there, and you still trying to walk with them day one, sometimes the day one be the one to bring you down.
Right. Oh yeah.
So
I want to see. There's a lot of people,
they don't want to see you win.
I found this in life. You know what I'm saying? I had to go through it twice. I didn't learn my lesson the first time, but when everybody's cool with you when you sitting there
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I mean, you bumming cigarettes and sleeping on floors and couches and you know what I mean, you the realest person. But as soon as you make a step, you know what I mean, and start bettering yourself and do better or whatever, then people just say, you know, they stop messing with you because you're not doing the same thing. A lot of people don't like change, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they don't want, so they feel like you change. They say, oh, you changed. It could have been for the better. It could have been a good change. But they just like, you changed, you know what I mean? Yeah, I did change. That's what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? That's the evolution of a person is to go, you know, I always say, you know, from, you know, when you're born, promise that, well, you're not promised that, but you got that, and you promise that you're going to die. And in between, it's that little slash, and that slash represents life. Like, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to stand in the same place and live in the, you know, shoot. I feel sorry for people who had just been Columbia all their life, like, don't know anything else. Like you know, even though this may be the biggest place in South Carolina, like everybody should go experience something.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like you not maybe not so moved there, but at least travel a little bit and see everything like that.
I feel like on that aspect it's just like I think people underestimate the ability to adapt. Cause I don't believe in people changing.
Right.
I don't believe that a person is capable of change. I feel like a person is capable of altering themselves or adapting to their situation.
Right.
But change, I mean, of course, that's a whole new politic. You feel me? That's a controversial topic, to be real. But I've seen it where you can be cool with people and they rooting for you. They rooting for you as long as you're benefiting them.
Right.
You feel me? But the moment that you start really focusing on self, you see your circle get smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just you. Now you shooting, you know what I'm saying? Now you just out here trying to get it on your own.
Right.
Might not even have the right type of guidance that you need for real, but you really out here trying to get in it and figure out a way to make it shake.
Right.
But people didn't respect the movement. They were seasonal. I feel like everybody's pretty much seasonal. You know, you go through people to see or to show you where you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to expect or how things supposed to go. But I don't know. I think people just they really underestimate the ability to adapt. For real, for real.
So who do you go? I mean, who do you? How important is like in this game? You know what I mean? And in life period, how important is mental health to you? Are you taking care of your mental health? And
Oh, absolutely, man. I have a therapist that I talk to. You feel me? And if I can't talk to my therapist, I talk to my lady. You know,
Right.
or I talk to my mama, or I talk to God. You feel me? I pray to who I pray to. You know, but end of the day, mental health is very important.
Right.
And I see that a lot of people, they ignore their mental health. Some people just say, oh yeah, music's my therapy, but how therapeutic is it?
Right.
Like, what is it being therapeutic to? What part of you are you feeding?
Right. I met an artist, like, I'm gonna say no name, but I met an artist like the last few days I met an artist and I could just tell that I ain't gonna say whether it was a girl or a guy.
Right.
Because somebody might be able to put it together. But I could tell that person is struggling with their mental health. Like, they got all the talent in the world, but they don't believe in themselves. Like, or somebody done told them, like, they done been let down so many times. But what people don't realize is that you're gonna experience hundreds of no's in the music business before you get a yes. You know what I mean?
Telling you.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's hard for some people to deal with because they really, like, people who make music really think their music is good. It may not sound good to all three of us in the room, but they really think it's the best thing smoking.
Yeah. You supposed to though.
Yeah, you're supposed to. So, you know what I mean? Like, when somebody let them down or ain't feeling them, you know what I mean? Like, that shit's just wild. Like, they really get upset about that. Like, they really trip out. Like, you know what I mean? So, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I had, similar situation. Like when I first started the music back in 2019, like I said, I was in Charlotte. And the first thing I did jumping out the porch was did a coast to coast live competition. You know, I had heard so many great things about it, but then I had heard some bad things about it. You know, but I was like, I ain't gonna let nobody deter me from it. You know, I feel like it's still an opportunity to get exposure from other places. You know, see, you know, I wasn't in it. I didn't enter Coast to Coast Live to win the money. I entered Coast to Coast Live to network, to see what other talents were being brought to the table for real.
Right.
And I think the hardest part about doing that was waiting on the deliberations they rate you.
Right.
Like they tell you it's different categories and they let you know why they didn't move you for it. And to receive my first no for being, I was told that I wasn't marketable.
Right.
And in my mind, what you mean I'm not marketable, bro?
Right.
I'm versatile. I can do several different things. You know, is it my imagery that's unmarketable?
Right.
Is it the music that's like, what is it? Right. Of course, they don't elaborate too much on that. They just said you're unmarketable. And for a new artist coming out, that could be devastating because you don't know what direction to go to fix it.
Right.
You know,
they just telling you.
They just tell you. So for a minute, once I first started, I dropped the EP. 6 songs on the EP, and I took a moment after that to just really kind of try to reflect, trying to figure out what way I needed to do something different because they wasn't impressed by the versatility. They were impressed, but it wasn't enough to make an impact.
Right.
So that's one thing I can tell all artists, regardless of how many no's you get, you got to keep going.
Right.
Because if you don't believe in yourself enough to keep pushing past it and you just take the first no and just be like, yeah, I'm good on it, this ain't for you no way. For real.
Yeah, so what you said is so true. And like what we do on Carolina Working is kind of like reflection a little bit. We talk a little bit with the artists and everything like that. Because P. Rose is like a pastor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we the OGs and stuff, so we always be talking and stuff like that. But I was told that same thing wasn't marketable. About 15, 16 years old, I lost my eye. I started losing it since birth, but I lost pretty much all of it, probably about like 14 or 15 and stuff like that. So anytime you lose your eye, if you don't patch it up or whatever, light, that's why I wear sunglasses all the time. But light is real sensitive, make it jump around, close up, tear up, you know what I'm saying, puss up, that kind of stuff, right? So, you know what I mean? They just was, the label was like, you know, we just, when they put you in them development stage and you got people looking at you and stuff like that, and you may, you know what I mean, you may not look how they want you to look, but you know, you got the talent or whatever, and they just sitting there trying to figure out what to do with you.
Right.
You could just be like on the shelf for a year or two, and you know what I'm saying? So that was my experience, is that, you know what I mean, I sat in 15 years old, 16 years old, going into 17 years old, trying to get on a video work and everything like that. And they just kept, you know, I always dressed, but they just kept, you know, messing with me and stuff like that about the face stuff. I even had a surgery and everything, and that didn't really work and stuff like that. So they was just like, you know what I mean? They was like, man, you're just not marketable, but you can write for people. That's what they was telling me. I could write for people.
Yeah.
But I was just in my feelings. I was like, nah, I'm not into that. Like,
I don't want to be in the background.
Yeah. So eventually, I don't even know when I was dropped from the label. I just know I came back to South Carolina and I didn't really release no music, and so they never really fucked with me or nothing like that. But then I started hearing like different stuff that I said and sang that I made on tapes and sang in studios. I started hearing it in their music and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? So it was just crazy.
They just phased you out, kind of took it like every day.
Yeah, but my mental health wasn't strong. So I was young and my mental health wasn't strong. And I was also trying to adapt to the fact that, hey, I didn't always look like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I didn't always, you know, I wasn't always dealing, you know what I mean? Even though I've been dealing with it my whole life, it just hit at one time, you know what I mean? So I wasn't really.
You was going through a change yourself.
So you know what I mean? So I was already conscious of the shit. And then for them to say that shit, and then, you know what I mean, I was just dealing with a lot of shit that I wasn't used to. So you know what I mean. When I came back to South Carolina, I was just like, I ain't fucking with music no more. It like gave I'm always gonna love music, but it just gave me a distaste. Yeah, for the business side of it, and you know what I mean. And like, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Then you people steal your music and stuff like that. And if you're a real artist, somebody steal your music, like that just make you want to kill somebody.
Absolutely.
So you know what I mean. So yeah, so mental health is very big, and I always tell the younger people that now that I'm older, and I see what they going through when people say, "Oh, he don't dress nice," or this person look good. Or how do we market this? And everybody's trying to find a way to market you because now, and this when I was coming up, this wasn't no internet,
right?
So I can't even imagine how I would have felt back then.
Yeah, if we had the technology back, man.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So that's just crazy, man. So I always ask artists about their mental health, but you know what I'm saying. Now that we done touched on that, you know what I'm saying? So where do you see yourself going with your music in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, and that's honestly, that's my final timeline.
Right.
Feel me?
Right.
And the reason being is because 5 years is a lot of time.
It's a lot of it go by quick now.
It goes quick,
yeah,
but it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
When as an artist, in 5 years, if I have not popped in 5 years, and I'm a transition.
You're gonna transition.
I'm not gonna give up because it's a passion. You can't give up a passion.
Give up a passion.
You know, it's almost habitual now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it wouldn't necessarily be a giving up, but I'm pretty sure there's somebody out here who can use some of the nuggets that I have to offer.
Right.
You know, so I would probably transition more so into performance coach. Or artist development type. Yeah, not even management. I don't want to manage nobody.
Right, I was the same way.
I mean, it's people who've asked me about it.
Right.
You know, because I do my research. I'm knowledgeable to an extent.
Oh, I mean, I never had a long conversation with you, but yeah, I can tell. Yeah. I could tell very quickly how smart you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about the business aspect of all things. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, but on top of being an entrepreneur, I also punch a clock. You feel me? So time is important to me. It's not something I can get back, which means that if I'm gonna spend 5 years on something and I don't see the result from that, then it's time to transition.
Right.
You know, and for some people that may be a frowned upon, to hear that, after giving it 5 years, but it's not just the 5 years that I've given. You know what I mean? Like I said, I started music in 2019. All right, we in 2025. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a few more people know about me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the world don't.
Yeah, well.
So, overall, in a nutshell, in 5 years, I see myself on international platforms.
Right.
I don't wanna make it just here.
Right.
I want to be an international name. That's really where the money is. A lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah.
The money not even in the U.S.
It's in London.
It's in London. It's in the Bahamas. Yeah. It's in Jamaica.
Right.
When you start getting notoriety out in those places like that, that's when you know you've made an impact.
Yeah, I heard Kelly Rowland say that. Like she said, when she left Destiny Child, everybody was just feeling Beyonce so much. It was hard for her to, even if she had a hot single.
Yeah.
Everybody was they wanted the group. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They either wanted Beyonce solo or they wanted the group.
Right.
They didn't want her.
Yeah.
And she said, but overseas she was an international superstar.
Absolutely.
She said paparazzi be everywhere. You know what I mean? I was just like, damn.
And that ain't a bad living.
No.
That's just like if you hoop.
Right.
And you get dropped from a team in the United States.
And go overseas.
You go overseas. You still making that same kind of bread.
Superstar.
Yeah, superstar.
Right.
They worshiping you. You got billboards. You got all kind of different things, man.
I call it the Stephon Marbury effect.
Yeah.
He left the NBA, went to China, was making $2 million a year, but everywhere he went, he was like Michael Jordan.
Right. Bro had his own store and all down here at one point. That Stephen Barry's.
Yeah.
Which it was pretty smooth back when it was out. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he knew when to transition.
Right. He knew when to transition.
It's all about business.
Right. Yeah, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So you don't see too many artists that smart like you that understand it. You know what I'm saying? Understand that and everything like that. So in 5 years, you're going to be an international superstar and everything. And if it don't work, you're going to transition into
helping somebody else get there.
Helping somebody else. So I got a kind of similar story or whatever.
Absolutely.
So that's what's up. I definitely feeling that. So man, let's get into some some fun stuff and everything like that. Like what's so like I don't want to ask you what your top 5 is, but like what's your favorite song that you wrote?
My favorite song that I wrote.
Yeah, which one is that if you had if we was in a label meeting and they say, man, one song, make it a do or die, make it or break it, what would that be for you?
Last Letter.
Last Letter, okay.
That would be the one.
I gotta check that out then.
Yeah, that's actually an R&B joint.
Okay.
And I don't do a lot of R&B. Right. Because doing R&B, there's a lot of emotion that you have to really indulge in. You really got to tap into self when it comes to making R&B tracks. But rapping, I can look at the wall and see a sign and I'm in there.
You start rapping.
You know what I'm saying? I just go. But you really got to tap into your emotional bag when you're doing R&B music.
Right.
It's a different type of wordplay. The rhyme schemes are not the same. The melodies have to be right, which means that engineering has to be right. You can't just go to anybody to record an R&B song. Right. There's people who are should really be facilitated just for that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but Last Letter, definitely check that out, y'all. It's an R&B track.
It's on all platforms.
All platforms. It's everywhere. TikTok, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Apple.
So you got your music on Spotify and all that good stuff.
Yep, my music is on all platforms.
On all platforms. That's what's up. You halfway there then?
Halfway. It's even on the BMIs and
right.
It's out there. It's up there. It's up and it's stuck. That one.
Right.
For sure.
So what? So now I asked you about your favorite song, your go-to song. So give me your, you do R&B and you do rap. Just give me a top 5. Don't matter. Could be R&B, hip hop.
It gotta be mainstream.
Oh.
Okay. Shit. I actually, to me, I listen to a lot of local music.
Yeah, me too.
People don't think that a lot of people listen, but I listen to a lot of local music. It's a lot of, I'm gonna say one of my top songs right now that I've been listening to. Of course, I'm on it, but right. It's myself and Creme de la Creme, and it's called Cocky. Mm-hmm. That's actually one of the songs I listen to on a daily. Okay. At least 3-4 times a day. Right. And that ain't off the streaming platform. I listen to it, I listen to it off of the download on my phone, straight from the engineer. But it is on all platforms. I actually think that Creme de la Creme is probably one of the hardest female rappers in the city for real. Okay. Slept on, absolutely.
I never met her before. Yeah.
Hey, that's somebody you got to meet there now.
I heard of her. Never had the opportunity.
Yeah. But if I go mainstream, I would have to say I can't really go with a song. I would have to go with artistry.
Yeah, the artist. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan.
Okay.
I'm a J. Cole fan, and I'm a Wayne fan.
Okay.
I like lyricism.
You don't like Drake?
I like Drake.
Yeah.
But I love Drake. Don't get it twisted, because R&B Drake is the Drake that I've known to love.
Yeah. Okay.
But when it comes to lyricism, I would stick with who I said. Right. Wayne, J. Cole, Kendrick. Mm-hmm.
2 more.
I need 2 more.
Yeah. But you said Creme de la Creme.
Yeah. Well, if we stay in major though, Glorilla for sure.
Okay.
Glorilla for sure. And then my 5th one, if I tap into my R&B bag, it'd have to be Chris Brown.
Chris Brown. Oh yeah, Chris Brown dope.
Yeah, that boy bad.
That funny thing about the Glorilla, one of the biggest thing that we've had. I think we've been doing this since August. How long? June. Okay. I thought it was July. I think the first episode was like a couple of days after my birthday. Yeah, somewhere around there. But anyway, one of the biggest moments that we had was they said something about Glorilla, and I said, said, how do you feel about the Glorilla album? It went viral. I said, it's just the same old whole shit. That's what I said, right? Cause I heard the album, right? You know what? I heard the album, and I got to maybe about the 6 or 7 songs, so I didn't listen to the whole album.
Okay.
But I heard the album. I got to about the Sexy Red song. And I guess that's just the song.
Took you out.
I guess that's just the song that stuck in my mind because that was the last song I heard. And I probably listened to it twice because I like Sexy Red. Because Sexy Red reminds me of all the old school female rappers. It's not very complex, but it's, it
gets to the point.
Get to the point. So, you know what I mean? So when they asked me that, because I wasn't a big Glorilla fan, I didn't even like the first album. And then, her I really didn't think, she was moving forward. You know what I mean? I thought from when she first came out to kind of like the middle right there before this last album.
Yeah.
I thought she was actually going backwards. Like I knew she had been on like some few tracks and then, she disappeared for a little bit. So I was like, man, what's the Glow chick, she may be one and done.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So my whole thing was, Gotti wasn't showing popping up and she wasn't popping out. So like when I said that, so it was just some same old whole shit. You know what I mean? What I meant was like, it's the same old Sexy Red, it's the same old this, it's the same old. I said I didn't see where she separated herself from the pack. But then I started listening to it more. People riding down the road playing it. I'll be at my homegirl's house playing cards. They playing it.
Yeah.
They loving it. And I said, well, let me just kind of go back through this again.
And just listen.
So one of the most viral moments that we had last year was actually something that I don't even agree with anymore. Like, I really think when I look at Glorilla, I look at artist development. I think when she came out, she wasn't appealing. I don't think they was even trying to make her appealing. I think the goal was
keeping that
the
raw
hood chick, the hood raw chick, and then they just transformed her into a superstar, Grammy winner, and all that kind of stuff. Like that was some real artist development with Glorilla. So yeah, I definitely was wrong about that. She does have a lot of growth, and I think they was at a crossroad. You know what I'm saying? Like they was like, okay, where do we want to go? Where do we want to be? Like I think that album was the make it or break it for her career. Like it was a career match. If that album wasn't good after going from the thugged out to getting the breasts done and getting in the gym and getting a different look, I think if that wasn't the work, I don't think she could go back to the street chick shit and it'd just be over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to mother career on the line. They just went for it. They just went all in and they won.
That was actually a good play.
That was a real good play.
She been posting about it lately, saying the glow up been real.
Right.
And it was, but you're right. That is a great display of artist development.
Right. That's why it's important. Artist
development doesn't always mean that somebody's creating you. They're just helping you tap into your creative bag.
Right.
So when she first came out, you know what I'm saying, her creative bag was street.
Right.
Some I'm doing shit with my bald headed friends, you know what I'm saying?
She had a hit or two,
But she really had to dig into her bag.
It didn't sell. It wasn't selling. And
it sold to who it sold to, but it wasn't. Yeah. Nobody could see the future with it.
That's why I told him. I said it was basically her homegirl.
Yeah.
Her homegirl. What's her homegirl that rap?
Gloss.
Gloss. It basically was Gloss. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same shit. Like QC didn't develop Gloss. Like it's the same thing. Gloss she already had ass.
She's just as talented. She's just as talented
and already had the ass and titties and all that. Then they have to switch it up. You know what I mean? A little darker, and that kind of plays a little role in the music business too, with all the colorism and shit. But yeah, I mean, shit, same thing. They didn't develop her, wound up dropping her. You know what I mean? I just don't think QC do good with women because they had Rennie too.
Yeah, they did.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then they kept Rennie on the show so long till a girl that looked like her and could rap like her came through and won Grammys and Lotto and became a superstar. Yeah. But Rennie was first.
But you gotta think about it too though. No shots to anybody. Right. But Lotto been around the game for a hot minute.
She been around.
So it was honestly it was her timing.
Yeah.
It was her timing. It was all about placements. Like you said, QC kind of dropped the ball on that.
Right.
it ain't nothing that she did differently, but she still has some really good placements as well. Rennie's definitely tapped into areas people don't even think she is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But do you think when somebody beat you to the punch, do you ever think she could ever come out now? Or do you think, everybody's gonna say, oh, she just trying to be like Lotto. Oh, she look like Lotto. Or,
I mean,
it's like Lotto.
that's always gonna be a comparison.
Right.
It's always gonna be a comparison. That's just like when I drop music. If I can hear a beat, right? And I can go ahead, you know what, man, I'm gonna buy this beat. I'm gonna buy this beat.
Right.
And I drag my feet on it. 2 weeks later I hear somebody on the same beat.
Right.
And I'm like, God. But it's really like that for real. If you ain't ready to go at that moment, you'll miss your turn. You'll miss a turn for real.
Go by.
Because it come and it go quick. So if you're not really ready for it, it ain't gonna happen for you.
Right.
So.
And I would touch back on something else you said before we got on Glow. You said you didn't want to manage people.
No.
And I was the same way. What was your reason for not wanting to manage other artists?
I don't want to manage people because, first of all, I'm an Aries.
Okay.
I'm passionate.
Passionate. Okay.
And a lot of people say, oh, manage me, but they don't really understand what that entails.
Right.
Because just like I might be demanding some work out of you, I'm working even harder on the forefront, trying to make sure that you get in the shows, making sure you get in the interviews, making sure, and some people take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand. Most managers really don't make no money until you pop nowhere.
Right.
Real spill. So I'm putting all this money into these endeavors, or because most of these shows that people get, you still got to pay to play.
Gotta pay to play. Oh,
But if this artist that I'm managing ain't really got nothing to pay to play,
right, and
you go into the studio when you feel like it, or you know what I'm saying, you missing appointments, you missing deadlines, I ain't got time to play with nobody like that, because now you playing with my livelihood. If I'm gonna put my blood, sweat, and tears in you, I need you to put the same out for me. Right. This is your dream, you said.
Right.
So now I don't want to manage nobody.
Yeah, I think artists in Columbia and South Carolina period have a misconception of what a manager is. Yeah. I think Chop, you know Chop, right?
Yeah, I know Chop.
I think Chop said it best. It's like some of y'all ain't looking for management. Y'all looking for an investor.
Absolutely.
Investor is the label.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So basically, if you looking for an investor, still looking for a label. You know what I'm saying? So you looking for somebody to put something into you, and then you're gonna give them this back. That's what an investor is. An investor is somebody they don't do it because they love you. They do it because they think they're gonna make some money. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? So it may become when y'all start making money, they may love you. You may get in a relationship, but at the end of the day, it's a business. You know what I mean? And they're not gonna keep dumping money into you like that. But a manager is basically somebody that works for you. Like, a lot of people think management is, they say, I want a manager. They want somebody to guide them and invest in them. And not really. You still should keep the same grind. Yeah. If you was buying studio time before and you was working with this engineer,
you still gonna do that.
You still do that. If you was,
I might have a preferred engineer.
Yeah, you might have a preferred
somebody
engineer.
that's gonna enhance the sound to make you a little bit more, what's that word, marketable?
Right.
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
The same thing I was telling Tip. I said, you don't even really got to get into all that in people's studio session watching over them and stuff, because we're not a label. A manager, they do what they do. They bring it back to you to go push it. You know what I'm saying? To go market it, take it to put. And if I don't feel like, hey, that's not something that I can market, or that's not something that I can sell to somebody, then I'll tell you, I don't really think we could sell that.
We need to go back to the drawing board.
We need to go back to the drawing board. But then at the end of the day, you can tell me, well, I believe it is something. Go try, and then I go back out there, and if we fall flat, I just come back and tell you, I told you, this is the direction that we should be going in. But I work for you. A lot of people don't. A lot of people that got managers don't. They clinging on to them like that's their boss. Like, no, I'm not your boss. I work for you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go out here because I know to get my percentage, I gotta put you in something that's gonna make some money. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or we may have to do some. Yeah, we may have to do some free shit to get noticed
for a little bit.
Yeah.
For a little bit, but I mean that's the catch-22 with being an independent artist. So.
Right. We're gonna do some free shit.
It's gonna be a lot of free shit.
It's gonna be a lot of free shit. They don't understand that either.
Nah. I mean, I just started getting paid to host.
Right.
I just started getting paid to perform.
Do features and stuff.
Yeah. So when I say, excuse me.
No problem.
When I say that, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot of free shit.
Right.
It's a lot of free shit. You gonna pay more.
Right.
Just to be able to play than you are. Then you gonna get back from it.
Right.
Which is why that 5-year plan is what it is.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of money to do music.
Yeah. I saw Boss Man Dealer say invested 100,000 or something. And then the person asking him, why you do so many short songs? He said, 'cause shit, I had the goddamn money was getting low. Shit, studio is just hard to get the quality sound that you want.
Right.
This is how much you gotta pay. And shit, if I'm paying $150, $200 an hour, I need to be able to knock out 3 songs in an hour. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like that was because that's always been a debate. Because back in the day, the label was investing millions of dollars in you, so they wanted 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, no.
Albums.
Now
you know what I'm saying?
Now the time
game
frame
done changed.
Yeah.
The attention span done changed. Now we living in the internet world, so everybody, our young kids, the young kids' attention span done changed.
If your song don't catch them in the first 15 to 30 seconds, it's
you
done.
Gone. Well, back in the day, we put on the tape, smoke a blunt, let that bitch play. If something caught us, we rewinding it back. Right. You know what I mean? It's just like that. But now it's just kind of like
it's either you in or you ain't.
Shit, that beat better be knocking when you first come on.
And honestly, to be real, the way I feel music is going, it ain't even about lyricism no more.
No.
If you got the right beat and your tone is good when you come in on it, they gonna vibe with whatever you saying for real.
Right. Totally.
For real. And I think that's kind of one of the things that's hard for me.
Me too.
Is because
me too.
I'm actually a lyricist. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wordy at times.
Yeah.
And sometimes being wordy ain't really the best. That's not what's flying right now. It's not. That time has somewhat passed. You know, you still got some people who are already mainstream that have their name already who can get away with giving you 150 words. Right. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, if your song ain't 2 minutes or less, and you got something that's repetition that you drilling in their heads, they not listening.
So I come from the era. So when I was like in Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever, I was getting my hair cut by where he wasn't Biggie's DJ at that time, but he wound up being Biggie Small's DJ. He was just a barber from Brooklyn, but you know he came to the ATL like most people, escape Brooklyn life, and you know I just happened to get my hair cut from him and shit. And I used to get my hair cut at Heavy D's barbershop. I don't know if you know who Heavy D is.
Yeah, I know who Heavy D is.
He had a barbershop called Blue Funk Barbershop on Old National Road. I used to get my hair cut, and this was the barber or whatever. So you know what I mean. I had made a demo tape, and I just said, "Hey man, bro, check me out." You know what I'm saying? Just handed them to him, and then he hit me back. He said, "Man, look here, they be doing ciphers around the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna come pick you up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna call you like if they got a good one going on." So, you know, it's a lot of niggas from New York, a lot of niggas from the East Coast, Connecticut, everywhere that was living in Atlanta. So he would just come pick me up. I was 16. He would just come pick me up. He had a Benz, and, you know, he looking nice and shit, 500. You know what I mean? He'd pick me up and we'll just go somewhere around the city. And he'll just like unleash me like a pit bull. He'll just take the leash off of me and be like, go get him. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? They be betting and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just be rapping.
Dope feeling.
Be rapping. No hook, no nothing. So I left the game at 22, 23, start rapping. So when I picked it back up at 43, my first song didn't have a hook on it. So, you know what I mean? I was just rapping because that's what I was used to. Like, motherfuckers taking me somewhere and I'm just just proving that I'm the best lyricist in town, right? So I'm over here at, they had an open mic over here at Jules. It was a place called Jules on Broad River.
On the river. Yeah.
They had a Friday night, open mic. And you ever heard of Grooves and Melody?
Yeah.
Okay, so Grooves and Melody was there. They was like they wasn't in the open mic. They was like a featured artists or whatever. So they was doing all the open mic and it just came my turn. And I just started rapping. It's a 4-minute song. So I'm already fucked up right there. I didn't know how much the game changed. And the song was fucking hard. I was ripping these motherfuckers' head out. everybody got out and went and smoked a cigarette.
Yeah.
They left me sitting at the motherfucking bar because that's what the stage was. They left me sitting at the motherfucking bar by my motherfucking self, just rapping and shit. And that like the whole night, like I was just really ready to go. After that, I was embarrassed, but the bartender was like, she a friend of mine. She was like, yo, that shit was hard. She was like, no, this South Carolina, they don't understand that New York shit. I said, well, I'm not from New York. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, that
was just the vibe.
That was just the vibe, how I grew up of a motherfucker taking me, and I just out rap niggas, you know what I mean? Sometimes I lose, but I was 16 and I was just rapping, you know what I mean? So now that I'm this old, they don't rap the same, and it was just like a big lesson, and I just felt real bad and disrespected, and I wanted to leave, but you know what I mean? She was just like, man, you know, just mellow out, just cool out, you know what I mean? I watched the rest of the show, and when I walked to my car, Grooves came over to me, and he was just like, yo, bro, he said, I know you think nobody really wasn't listening to you and everything, and all blah, blah, blah. He was just like, bro, it's a new day, man. I was the same way. It's a new day, bro. You got to get your hook. Get your singer, so you know what I mean. And I was like, you know,
right.
And he said the rest of. He said He said I heard it. He said you can rap. He said a lot of people can rap, but you gotta. This is what you
gotta do something to separate yourself.
And you know what I'm saying. And I haven't spoken to him since that day. Now he done songs with my business partner and everything like that. They close, but I haven't spoken to him since then. He live in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I haven't spoke to him and anything like that. But that was always some shit. That was 3-4 years ago. But that was always some shit that's gonna stick with me. It's just that, you know what I mean, you come from one era and then now you gotta try to evolve into what they got going on right now. And you know, and it's still days where I don't get it, but you know what I mean? Most of the time I could try to figure it out a little bit, compromise a little bit and everything like that. It's just the game, you know what I mean?
It's all about the lifestyle too though. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear a lot of people everybody rapping about switches or getting it in, you know what I'm saying, doing all that other stuff, man. A lot of people don't even live them lives. For real. And that's one thing I pride myself on with my music. I don't rap about nothing I ain't doing.
Right.
I can't. Cause that's a facade. You can call my bluff on that later.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna never give anybody an opportunity to get that type of over me.
Right.
You feel me? I stay true to myself. So, you know, my music is for who it's for.
Right.
I have a fan base, you know, whether it's big or small. I have a fan base.
You have a fan base.
People who want to hear what it is that I have to say.
Right.
You know? It's all about finding your niche, finding your crowd. Right. Once you find your crowd and you know who you really here to entertain, you take off from there for real.
Yeah, when I saw you perform, you had some people out there, and I think that's missing in this game. Like, these niggas is performing in front of other artists. Like, they don't bring no fans to the. They don't bring no support system, no nothing. Well, I don't know if they just been doing it so long that people just done gave up on them, or if they just never had it. They just waiting for it. Like, they just really don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I got so tired of these niggas. 'Cause we put on shows. I get so tired of people complaining about different shit, and they don't got no fans. So what I do now is I give them tickets.
Yep.
Sell your tickets. That's how you gonna make your money.
That's how you make your money.
You know what I'm saying? Here's 20 tickets. You sell them, come back and re-up.
That's how Coast to Coast Live was though. Yeah. Real spill. They give you get a package for you can get 100 tickets.
Right.
Right? And if you're selling these tickets for $10 a pop.
That's your money.
That's your money.
And you got the crowd.
Win, lose, or draw. That's your money.
Yeah, that's your money, yeah.
So you get your people to actually come out. It ain't nothing. Okay, hey. That's just like if I'm sitting on the side of the road selling Krispy Kremes.
Right.
You feel me? The product itself is gonna sell itself, but that comes with people actually believing in your craft too.
Right.
But if they don't feel like you believe, if you ain't confident in your craft, ain't nobody else gonna be confident in it. That's just like you got friends, you can turn up with people, but they can't come to the show. Right. Or you got family. Oh, when you make it, we gonna be like this, but you ain't been to a show. Right. You ain't supporting that, and they wonder why people go other places. Right. And when they blow, then they don't say nothing about where they from. Right. But it's because when people were seeking the support from their home front, they ain't get that.
I get that. It's a double-edged sword.
It is.
And that's one thing
I'm always be from Columbus, South Carolina. I'm always rap 803, no matter where I'm at.
Me too. But my whole thing with that is, you got to market yourself. You're an independent artist. You gotta go see. It was easier back in my day because you have give them a CD. You know what I'm saying? Here you go. Now it's like watch me on Instagram and niggas. When you walk away from them, motherfuckers don't do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Man, some people don't even listen to your music if you ain't even got a certain amount of followers, dog.
Right. If you
Real
they ain't got enough. They ain't got. Oh damn, no. Only 23 likes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna listen to this.
Oh man, you don't even got 10K followers yet.
Yeah.
Like,
so
nah, I can't even.
It's a different ball game that we playing, but I think everybody, if they doing a show or doing an open mic, they should, you should bring some people with you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just performing in front of other artists is just like, I don't get that. I've been doing this open mic. We've been giving away $250 the last 3 weeks, and the crowd will get smaller every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like, damn, for $250 I'll come out for free. But $250 will definitely make me come out whether I win or lose. And then it's crowd participation.
Yeah.
But you only brought 2 people with you. How you expect to win?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If this man bringing bringing 10 people in, and you bringing one person with you, your homegirl, your homeboy, how you expect to win? Like you really got to be good to make the person that they came to support cheer for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just weird.
I feel that. I did a couple of competitions like that around the city.
Right.
It was one that was going on at at Mobay 2 off of the ferry that I had dealt with. And when I first went out there, it was like, hey, $20 per form.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they had judges.
Yeah. I don't like the judges.
They had the panelists of judges. Of course, that can be skewed as well. Yeah, it could be for sure. Absolutely. But
they have judges that have artists in the shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, and that's why I think that they actually did pretty good when they tried to be unbiased about it. They got some unbiased people to really get in there and judge. Because, you know what I'm saying? I can know everybody in the room. Right. Everybody in the room may know my work ethic. But that don't change the fact that I got something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, first time I went, I didn't win. Second time I went, I won. Mm-hmm. Second time I went and I won, I made sure that I'm in your face this time. Right. Like maybe the first time I didn't give you everything I had, but let me show you what I'm really hitting for. Like I got something for real. Won $250 the first time, then turn around. Now I was the champion. Now they bringing other people in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Have a little chain. It felt good. Right. When you live in a world full of no's, and then you go somewhere with people who ain't never heard your music before.
And they fucking with you.
And they fuck with it. Yeah. And then the next time I did it, I won $500. And the $500 I won, that was off of crowd. That was off of crowd interaction.
Crowd interaction, yeah.
Now sometimes that can get iffy if this event go too long.
Yeah.
Now my people going home. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you really just got to make sure you had that lasting impression on the people who wasn't with you. So it's a lot.
Same thing with a competition. Like, okay, like we did the thing March 1st. Did you come out?
I couldn't come out.
You told me you couldn't come out.
I couldn't come out to that. And I missed it. But
I appreciate you hitting me up. Yeah, that was too long. But it was judged. It wasn't a crowd participation thing. But if that was a crowd participation thing, that would have been messed up. But a lot of these like competitions and stuff that people do and everything like that, and that we do, we done got into it too. But like people don't want to go first. They feel like the last person gonna be the one that gonna win because nobody's gonna. If you got more than 15 or 20 people, nobody gonna remember who went first.
It's slight truth in that.
Right.
It's slight truth in that, and that's being honest. I done been in plenty of competitions where I might see my name like third. And there's 15 people on the roster.
Right, you want to go down?
Put me in the middle.
Put you in the middle, okay.
I mean, I ain't asking to go last, but put me as close to the end as you can. Right. And the reason being is because attention spans.
That's true.
You got all of these different genres of music, and you got all of these different imageries that are coming up there. Mm-hmm. You looking for something in each one, but there's always gonna be something that stands out. Right. But it's about placement. Right. Regardless of how people look at it, it is about placement. Right. I've been the person to go first. I've been the person to go last. I've been the person in the middle. Right. When I went first, absolutely, they forgot about that first girl. Mm-hmm. Even though she opened it up perfect. Right. They gonna forget about you because guess what? Now every other artist in the room know how they need to alter their movements to make sure that they doing something different from what you're doing. I study people. I don't take nothing from nobody, but I study people. Mm-hmm. I study the way you work the room. I see if you an artist And I can tell when you nervous. I can tell when you ain't never did this before. I can tell when you just doing it just to do it. Mm-hmm. It's all about the way you move. That's why I feel like doing artists, performance coaching would actually be a great component for a lot of artists. A lot of people don't really need management. They don't really need, you know what I'm saying? Yes, management is great to have because you as the artist should be focusing on putting the music out.
Right, and let somebody else.
You need a team. Shit, yeah. People don't realize you need a team. Even as an independent artist, you need a team.
Right.
You gotta have DJs. You gotta have you gotta have photographers. You gotta have engineers. You gotta have. It's so many parts that play a role in that. But,
and that's why it was something I've been turning people down, and I got a couple people like mad with me, like, man, you wouldn't manage us, but now you managing people. I'm like, bruh, I really wasn't in that mood right then. You know what I'm saying? Because I really don't gotta do this. It's just something that I love to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like I work a job. You know what I mean? But like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but at the end of the day, you be selective.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I said
I can't just get to everybody.
It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I said, then I just woke up one day and I just looked around the room. We were just all in here one day and I was like, what you just said? I said, well, damn, we got access to 2 DJs. Damn, we got access to people that do marketing. I'm just looking over there, Dom in one corner, Tip in the other corner. I'm like, we got people that know how to market. Mm-hmm. I said, damn, I got people around me that do this, you know what I mean? I know. Then I met a stylist, you know what I'm saying? Then I met a stylist and we became cool.
It fell in.
And then I was already like, people was telling me like, man, when you gonna like, all these artists and stuff like that, when you gonna bring them to my club and stuff. So like, it was all just came to. I said, well, shit, I already had the company, but I was only just putting out myself. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, man, I'm gonna just open it up. I said, but I ain't gonna do it without this. If this person ain't on board with it, because that's probably the person I trust to do this. That person ain't on board with it. That can guide us through this shit. You know what I'm saying? Then I ain't gonna do it. But then when that person was like, man, let's just do it. It just makes sense when you got everything in house and put together. Like we got access to 2 buildings. Like really, we got access to 3 because I got another building in Lexington. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? So I said, we really got like access to 3, but nobody wants to go all the way out to Lexington. Right. When the music is right here. Ain't no music in Lexington. Yeah. Nothing but, the other side. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So.
But it's a market for that too, though.
Oh, yeah, it's a market for that. It's a market that I don't want nothing to do with. But it's money. Yeah. It's definitely money. You know what I'm saying? They got an amphitheater out there. They have a pretty much a sold out show every week out there. So it's bands and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely money out that way, but it's just not what I want to tap into.
For sure.
But you know what I'm saying? The thing about it is just that shit. It just changed my mind, man. And now we doing this management thing, but I don't really like managing people, but you know what I'm saying? If it makes sense, it makes sense. I consider Tip a manager and me more like an agent, like more like, I'm gonna find y'all some shows. I know everybody that got a club, you know what I mean? I just gotta get in here and just talk to them, and I'm
behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I like it. You know what I'm saying? I like it. I like what we doing and stuff like that, and shoot, you know what I mean? So just to wrap the interview up a little bit, man. Sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you told us what your 5 years was and everything like that. So man, I think just all of this what we ain't touched on, man. Just shouting out your social medias and shouting out your people and letting us know, you know what I'm saying, where we gonna find you at next. And
oh yeah, I got a couple projects dropping out. Coming soon. I'm coming out with part 2 of my EP. That's probably gonna be dropping mid-April. Right. It's the Buildings of the Benefit part 2. That's gonna close out that EP realm, and then I got Blick Tapes Volume 2 coming out. Okay. It's a mixtape. I want all artists. I mean, anybody who want to work with me. If you want to work with me, I want to work with you.
Who you want to work with? Who would be a dream feature for you?
A dream feature in the local industry.
Local and outside.
Outside. T-Pain.
T-Pain. Okay.
T-Pain. I feel like if I get a song with T-Pain, big or small, I done made it.
It's gonna go, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna go. That man is a genius.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know, on a local level, it's actually a few artists that I would love to work with. I don't know how they would feel about mine, but it's a few artists that I would love to work with, and I can kind of harp on that at another time. Right. I ain't really gonna throw too many names out there, but I do, I got some projects coming out. Blitz Takes Volume 2 is open. I'm open to everybody.
Right.
And whoever come, that's who's supposed to be on it.
Right.
Big shout out to y'all for having me.
Oh,
for sure, Live Oak Entertainment. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Shout out to Creme de la Creme. You need your hair done. You need some photography. You need some anything done. And the latest Jill of all trades. Right. Shout out to Big Hurt for giving me the passion, showing me the vision, showing me what hard work look like. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Tip. She always been supportive. She always been major. Surplus, one of the first people to play my music. I appreciate Surplus all the way around. He know that. Jew for getting me outside. Jew Muldrow.
Oh yeah, okay, I know that.
Yeah, shout out to Jew for sure. She got me outside. It's a long line of people, but you can find me at Lex DaBenefit. That's LEXDABENEFIT on all platforms. It don't change. It's always the same, man. Peace up to you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Well, shit, that's another episode of Late Night with Sharif. We hope to have Lex back at some point. Like, so the music dropping and everything like that. Make this your home and come fuck with us whenever you want to fuck with us and stuff like that, man. And I appreciate you doing the interview with us and everything like that.
For sure.
So,
appreciate you.
Look forward to hearing you.
You know it.
And what's is the song I'm supposed to be checking out?
Last Letter.
The Last Letter. I wanted to say Last
Letter.
Last Letter. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and put that in now.
Yeah, go ahead. Tap in.
For the night in.
Tap in.
All right.